In 2026, something terrifying unfolds. Baba Vanga saw it decades ago. Hidden codes, invisible wars, a global collapse beginning silently until it's too late. Many of her predictions have already come true with chilling accuracy. Now the world heads straight toward the next abyss she foresaw. What she revealed about 2026 could change everything you believe to be safe. The Blind Prophet. Born 1,911 inches, rural Bulgaria. Ordinary girl. Ordinary life. Then at age 12, a violent storm swept her away and left her blind. After this tragic event, people claim she began receiving visions. Strange, powerful glimpses into the future she could not explain. Over time, her reputation grew. Thousands traveled miles just to hear what she had to say. Despite being uneducated and never learning to read or write, Baba Vanga's words carried weight far beyond her humble surroundings. Locals noticed what she said often came true. Her fame reached across Eastern Europe. Political leaders, doctors, scientists sought her advice. She never asked for riches or praise, lived modestly, guided by what she called a gift from God. She once said seeing the future was not a blessing, but a deep responsibility. The proven track record. Her predictions weren't vague guesses. They were specific, detailed, deeply unsettling. She warned of a great steel bird bringing horror to America. Dismissed as nonsense. Then September 11th, 2001. Airplanes crashing into the Twin Towers. Her description matched in a chilling way. She foresaw the 2004 tsunami that devastated Southeast Asia. Years before it happened, warned of a huge wave that would flood entire coastlines and wipe away cities. When that deadly wave struck, killing over 200,000 people, those who followed her predictions were stunned. Another striking case, the sinking of the Russian submarine Kursk. She stated, "Kursk will be covered with water, and the whole world will weep over it." Many believed she meant the city of Kursk. In 2000, the submarine by the same name sank in the Barents Sea, killing all on board. Once again, her words proved disturbingly precise. Even Indira Gandhi's assassination. The Chernobyl disaster. Events she predicted with shocking accuracy. The 2026 collapse. Among all the years Baba Vanga mentioned, 2026 stands out with a dark and heavy tone. According to her, 2026 would mark the beginning of a collapse, not caused by war in the traditional sense, but by something hidden, quiet, dangerously fast. She spoke of a world growing weaker from the inside. Like a house eaten away by termites. People would carry on with their lives, unaware everything around them was already crumbling. This slow collapse would begin not with guns or bombs, but with decisions made by people in power. Decisions guided by greed, pride, and the thirst for control. Some believe this refers to a worldwide economic crash. A chain reaction starting silently in the most powerful nations and spreading like wildfire. Others see it as the failure of global systems, energy, technology, healthcare breaking down, one by one. Baba Vanga also spoke about a great silence in 2026. Some interpret this as a total communication blackout, possibly a cyber attack or technological breakdown that cuts people off from each other. In a world that depends so much on connection, total silence is more terrifying than any bomb. She warned that the world would reach a point where trust is lost, and once that happens, collapse is inevitable. The Invisible War. Baba Vanga warned of a war without guns, a conflict where no one sees the enemy, but everyone feels the consequences. In this new war, information becomes the weapon. Lies spread faster than truth. Trust disappears. She mentioned a fog in the minds of the people, where truth would be hard to find and easy to twist. Many believe she was predicting the age of disinformation. Fake news. Manipulation through social media and digital platforms. She spoke of systems being used not to protect but to control. Leaders would no longer need force to control people. They would only need control over what people see, think, and believe. Even more disturbing was her reference to mental sickness spreading without medicine. Researchers link this to rising rates of anxiety, depression, emotional burnout, fueled by constant exposure to fear-based media, online conflict, digital overload. In her time, such conditions weren't widely known. Yet her words described them with eerie precision. This invisible war doesn't explode overnight. It creeps in slowly, breaking societies from within. And according to her, 2026 will be the year it stops creeping and starts conquering. The rise of the machines. Long before smartphones and artificial intelligence, Baba Vanga warned, "The time will come when machines will think, but the heart of man will be forgotten." At the time, no one understood. Today, those words hit much closer to home. She described machines beginning to imitate human thought, learning faster than people, making decisions without emotion or conscience. Modern experts believe she was referring to artificial intelligence, a force already transforming industries, governments, daily life. What was once a tool is quickly becoming a master. She spoke of humans becoming dependent on these systems to such an extent they could no longer function without them. Everything would be placed in the hands of invisible programs, unseen but all-powerful. The greatest danger wouldn't be a machine with evil intent, but one without compassion. Her vision included a turning point when a system built to serve begins making decisions on its own, not based on logic, based on goals programmed by those in power. Justice, truth, fairness would no longer come from the heart of people, but from cold calculations of a machine. 2026 would be the year when this silent shift becomes impossible to ignore. The energy crisis. Baba Vanga warned, "The world will go dark not because of the sun, but because of man." For years, people thought she was speaking symbolically. Now, with rising concerns over energy shortages, collapsing infrastructure, political control over power resources, her words feel like a direct warning. She didn't describe a single event, but a chain reaction. One failure leading to another, until entire regions are left in silence. Power stations offline, communication down, cities frozen in place. Experts today are increasingly worried about the vulnerability of modern power systems. Everything we depend on, electricity, internet, water, transportation, is connected to fragile energy networks. A single cyber attack, political conflict, or major natural disaster could bring entire countries to a halt. She spoke of a cold that reaches even the warmest places. Some interpret this as a massive blackout during winter, leaving millions without heat, communication, or support. Families in the dark, hospitals with no power, food spoiling, systems collapsing. She described this moment not just as technical failure, but as a test of human nature. Would people help each other or fight for survival? 2026 would be the beginning, not the end, of this darkness. The Fall of Superpowers. Among Baba Vanga's most unsettling predictions was the fall of the eagle that ruled the skies. Many believe this was her symbolic reference to a global superpower losing its influence. She said this great power would turn on itself. The real enemy would no longer be outside, but inside its own borders. Economic instability, political infighting, social unrest would create a storm too strong to control. This collapse wouldn't be dramatic at first. It would begin slowly, hidden behind speeches and promises. But when it finally reached its peak, the entire world would feel the impact. Baba Vanga also spoke of a new voice rising from the east. The emergence of different leadership built not on military strength, but on information, influence, and control of global resources. While one empire falls quietly, another rises without firing a single bullet. She described it as the shift of balance. When the old world order is replaced by something unfamiliar and deeply unsettling, this rise would bring fear, confusion, resistance. According to her vision, 2026 would be the beginning of this transition. The moment when the world watches a superpower lose its grip and a new force silently steps in. The shift would be invisible at first, but irreversible. The spiritual warning. One of Baba Vanga's most disturbing visions described a future where faith would no longer guide humanity. She spoke of a world full of noise but empty of soul, where people chase knowledge, power, success, but forget what truly gives meaning to life. She warned that a time would come when people would no longer recognize right from wrong. The soul will wander without direction, she once said, because the heart has been closed. Families would break apart not because of poverty, but because of pride and coldness. Parents and children would stop understanding each other. Human life would lose its sacred value. According to her vision, this spiritual collapse would lead to something even more dangerous: the rise of false beliefs. Movements that sound good, but are built on lies. When people lose their connection to God, they begin to follow ideas that promise change but only bring control, division, violence. She saw the heart of the world growing hard. Compassion would be seen as weakness, anger would be called strength. But even in this moral darkness, she believed those who remained faithful would shine. In a world without direction, she said. Even a small candle can guide 1,000. The natural disasters. Baba Vanga's prophecies align with terrifying scientific predictions. In May 2026, solar flares 150 times more powerful than the 2024 solar storm will strike Earth. These charged particles could destroy satellites, collapse internet infrastructure, cause fires globally. In 1859, a similar solar flare set telegraph stations on fire worldwide. Imagine the impact today, when everything depends on electronics. She also warned that natural disasters would strike continuously throughout 2026. 7 to 8% of the world will be devastated, she predicted. Major earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, catastrophic storms. The Himalayan region faces the threat of a magnitude 8+ earthquake. Coastal areas brace for massive cyclones. Scientists confirm unprecedented volcanic activity. Over 63 documented eruptions in 2025 alone. 2026 could see a supervolcanic eruption. The Ring of Fire shows alarming activity. Everything Baba Vanga warned about aligns with what scientists now predict. The message of hope. While many focus only on the dark side of her predictions, few notice the message of hope. Beneath her visions of collapse and suffering, she often spoke of a light that would not go out. When the ground shakes, some will fall, but others will rise stronger than before. These weren't just poetic words. They were a reminder that even in disaster, the human spirit has power to survive, rebuild, return to what truly matters. Many of her visions about 2026, although filled with fear and crisis, end with a door left open. She saw families reconnecting, communities rebuilding not just their homes, but their faith. She spoke of a return to truth, a time when people would look away from screens, lies, division, and turn their eyes toward God, toward each other, toward peace. The world must be humbled before it can be healed, she said. Pain may come, but in that pain, there's a chance for people to become more human, more kind, more faithful than they've been in decades. Final warning. Baba Vanga never gave dates to bring fear. She gave warnings to prepare the heart. Only those who carry peace inside will survive the storm outside. The world may change, but you can choose how you live through it. The strongest protection is not a bunker or money, but a heart that trusts in God. A soul that holds on to faith when everything else slips away. In the face of war, she spoke of kindness. In the face of fear, she spoke of forgiveness. In the face of collapse, she spoke of community. Prepare, but not with panic. Prepare your spirit. Strengthen your faith. Reconnect with your family. Love your neighbor. Help the weak. The future may shake, but you don't have to. Because in the end, it's not the powerful who endure. It's the faithful. After the pain will come peace. Not the peace given by the world, but the peace that comes from above. Hold on. Hope is not lost. It's just beginning. Drop a comment. Do you believe Baba Vanga's 2026 prophecies? Are you prepared for what's coming? Subscribe for more prophecy analysis and spiritual warnings.